In this lesson, we will be looking at the scanf function. We will discuss the general format of scanf function, the prompting for scanf, and the different format specifiers used by the scanf function. Now let's get started. We have already discussed the most powerful and versatile output function in C, the printf. This lesson will cover the most important input function, the scanf. Although the C language provides a myriad of input and output functions, but printf and scanf remain the most popular functions owing to their versatility and support for different types of variables. Both the functions allow you to control the formatting when it comes to variables. Now the question is why we need scanf. The printf function serves the purpose of sending the data to the screen. In order to get the data from the keyboard, the scanf function is used. We need scanf function because the assignment statements can't always be used to assign data. For example, suppose you are writing a program to keep track of a student's fee, and you intend to install that program in 10 different schools of the district. You can't simply use an equal sign to assign the monthly fee of the student to a variable because the monthly fee plan of each school in the district could be different. Therefore, you must ask the user of the program in each school's location to enter the monthly fee before determining if the student has defaulted on his fee or not. You might find the syntax of the scanf function confusing at first glance, but getting used to it is indispensable to enhancing the user interactivity of the program, which makes the program more powerful. It may cross your mind that scanf has a bizarre syntax if you are looking at it for the first time. But despite its strange appearance, it is the easiest function to use for input due to its resemblance with the printf function. With little practice, you can have a command on the use of scanf function. Scanf is a built-in C function, which is why it is included in every C compiler. Scanf uses the same stdio.h header file as printf, which eliminates the need for including an additional header file, which is surely an advantage. stdio.h stands for Standard Input Output. The scanf function looks very much like printf, which is why it is easy to use provided you are already familiar with printf. The format specifiers, also called conversion characters that are used by scanf, such as %c, %d and %f, are the same as printf. It won't be wrong to refer to scanf as the mirror image function of printf. The general format of scanf function is you have the word scanf followed by parenthesis, and the first argument inside the parenthesis is the format string. The format string is followed by data, which is the variable or the set of variables that are supplied to the scanf function. When the program reaches the scanf function, it stops and waits until the user types the value or values. The variables supplied by you inside the scanf function following the format string will store whatever values the user types. The scanf function quits only when the user hits return or enter on the keyboard. As we discussed earlier, the other name for enter is return. So both basically refer to the same key on your keyboard. The printf function is used in combination with scanf, as you will see in most of the programs that you write. You use a printf to ask the user for values and a scanf to get those values from the user. A word of caution. Always refrain from using escape sequences such as /n, /a and /t in scanf, such whitespace characters will serve to confuse the scanf function. The scanf function stops taking input the moment you press return, so there is no need to specify /n, which is the new line character. Now let's discuss prompting for scanf function. You must write a printf function before each scanf function. In case you don't use a printf function, the program stops and expects you to type something and you are clueless about what to type. For example, let's say you want to get the quantity of something, say water, from the user and you need to place a printf function like this before the scanf function. Now the printf function prompts you to type the desired quantity and whatever value you type will be assigned to the variable quantity that is passed as an argument to the scanf function. So the printf function serves as the prompt and the scanf function follows the printf function. By placing a printf function before scanf, you prompt the user to enter the desired value or values, otherwise the user has no idea what must be typed. Thus, the printf function is used to request the data from the user and scanf function is used to get the data typed by the user. Now let's write a program that uses scanf function so as to get familiar with scanf. Let's name it distance.c. As you can see that in this program, the printf function prompts the user to enter the value. The value to be entered is the distance in kilometers. The program stops at scanf and waits until the user types the value. Whatever value the user types is assigned to the variable dist_km, which represents the distance in kilometers. The first argument to the scanf function is the format string. The variable name is dist_km, which represents the distance in kilometers, and this variable name must be preceded by a ampersand sign. The comma is used to separate the two arguments of the scanf function. %f is the format specifier used for the floating point values because dist_km is a floating point variable. By placing an ampersand before the variable name, we are passing the address of the variable dist_km to the scanf function. Parentheses indicate that scanf is a function. The program distance.c makes use of two operators that we haven't encountered earlier. The asterisk represents the multiplication operator and the ampersand represents the address operator. However, as of now, simply bear in mind that a scanf function requires you to use the address operator before the variable name. A sample interaction with the distance.c program is shown below. Using floating point allows us to input decimal fractions. The first printf statement prompts the user to enter the distance in kilometers. Let's say the user types 25. The second printf statement prints the message, the distance in meters is 25,000.0. Now let's recap what we have learned. The format of scanf is very similar to that of printf. Inside the parenthesis, we have the format string on the left, and this format string uses the format specifiers. The right side contains the variable names. In our distance.c example, %f in double quotes is the format string and $dist_km is the variable name. Please note that we have used the ampersand before the variable name. In our case, since there is only one variable name, therefore we have used only one format specifier. The scanf uses similar format specifiers as printf except for few that are different. Now let's list them side by side in a table for a prompt comparison. Now as you can see in this table, almost all the format specifiers that are used in printf are also used in scanf except for the %g format specifier, which is not needed in scanf. For a single character we use %c, for string we use %s, for integer type values we use %d, for floating point in decimal notation we use %f, for floating point in exponential notation we use %e, for unsigned integers we use %u, for hexadecimal integers unsigned in the form of a, b, c, d, e, f we use %x, and for octal integers unsigned we use %o. Just like printf, the first four format specifiers, that is %c, %s, %d and %f are the most frequently used format specifiers in scanf. In scanf function, you can use %e instead of %f. Both serve the same purpose. You can use either of %e and %f for entering exponential or decimal values. The %e and %f both accept either format. In scanf function, the %g format specifier that allows the printf to make a choice between exponential or decimal notation depending on whichever is shorter is not needed, as user makes the choice. You can add a prefix before the d, o, u and x to indicate long type integer. If you add L before E or F, it indicates type double. However, if you add capital L before E or F, it indicates type long double. This brings us to the end of this lesson. In the next lesson, we will continue our discussion on the scanf function. See you in the next lesson.